So yesterday I went to go take a look at a deal. I went to go take a look at a piece of land, and it wasn't any good. I sat there and I thought about it, and I'm like, this is not any good. The land's no good. And so as of right now, I'm looking around. I'm looking to see what I can find. The real estate market right now kind of sucks. There's not really a whole lot for sale, and it's not exactly in the best. It's not exactly in the best the real estate market is not exactly doing phenomenally well right now. And so I figured maybe in about 2 or 3 months in the spring, we'll start to see more properties hit the market. And so it is what it is. I mean, what am I gonna do, right? Make a property appear out of nowhere, right? I mean, it's not something I can do. So I was really taking a look at everything, and I'm like, what do I want to budget? What do I want to do? What does my budget look like? And so I figured that over the next 3 months, I'm gonna get myself ready to buy a new piece of land. I'm gonna get everything looking real nice. I'm gonna get my balance sheet looking real good. I'm gonna get my credit looking real good. And I'm just gonna collect money off of my business for a couple of months. And yesterday I was taking a look at the numbers. I was taking a look at what needs to happen, and how much what am I gonna do, etc., right? I mean, what is my deal gonna look like, etc., etc. And so the bigger the property is, the less it is per acre. Almost always, when you're talking about buying like 100 acres, when you're talking about buying 200 acres, when you're talking about buying 10,000 acres, when you're talking about buying 100,000 acres, whatever it may be, the larger the property is, the less it costs per acre. And $10,000 an acre is a reasonable estimate for something that is between about 100 and 250 acres, even up to about 350, depends. It really depends. If that property is right next to a highway and etc., right? But 10,000 an acre. When we're talking about 10,000 an acre, usually we're talking about something that's about 100 acres, or somewhere between 100 and maybe 500 acres. And the prices go up to about 25,000 an acre when you start going under 50. So I'm really looking to buy myself something that's about 100 acres. I want to buy something that's 100 acres, and I want to buy it for about $1 million. And I want a good piece of real estate, right? At $10,000 an acre, at 100 acres, that's the market price, right? For that price, I should be able to buy just about anything. Granted that we're not talking about like a commercially zoned, right? I mean, the cream of the crop property. I'm just looking for a good property. I'm looking for a good property, and I'm looking for it at the average market rate, which is about $10,000 an acre. We're talking about 100 grand, or about $1 million for about 100 acres. That's what I want. That's what I'm looking for right now. That's what I want my deal to look like. That's kind of the market range that I'm looking for. But I mean, if I get a real good deal on something, like even if it's 2 million, right? If I get a good deal on it, and if it's more than 200 acres of good cattle land, and then even I can even do that. It doesn't matter to me, okay? If it's $10,000 an acre, it's free. That's how I look at it. If it's $10,000 an acre or less, then it's free. Because the money that I need to pay the bank, I'm gonna make by farming the property. Right, I'm gonna make a large excess of money. I was going through my numbers yesterday, and I was showing y'all what I'm looking at, right? And my profit is about $1,000 an acre, net profit. When I run my business the way that I run my business, I make about $1,000, of net profit. But right now it's different because I'm on a 10.5 acre field, and I'm effectively here 24/7. So right now I run 3-4 cattle an acre, right? And I grow my grass and etc., and so my profits per acre are, I probably make somewhere, and just to put things in perspective, over the next 3 months, I'll probably make something about 20 grand net profit. And that would be just I'll probably make about 20 grand net profit, something like that. And so my net profits per acre right now are somewhere between $5,000 and $7,000 an acre, or $5,000 and $7,000 a month net profit. but I'm also running 3 to 4 animals an acre, right? Et cetera, et cetera. So I mean, in this situation, it's different because on my business plan, I talk about running 2 cattle per acre, right? I talk about running 2 cattle per acre, and on the business plan at 2 cattle per acre, it's a different business plan. But if I run 2 cattle per acre and I buy land at $10,000 an acre, then that land is free. All right, that's another way to look at it. The land is free. If I run my business, if I show up on a piece of land and I buy the land and I have to pay the bank back every month for the total cost of the land, I will still produce a significant net profit. So if it's $10,000 an acre, it's actually free. So that's another realistic way to look at it. I mean, I was taking a look at my business plan. I was taking a look at what I'm doing. And at the end of the day, that's how the numbers crunch out. When I take a look at it, if it's $10,000 an acre, it's free. So, right now I'm taking a look for a good piece of property. I'm not going to buy some. I've already said I don't take bad deals, right? Why would I take a bad deal? Right? I mean, do I look like I would take a bad deal? I'm not going to take a bad deal. Right? And I always say you got to consider the results, right? Like when you're taking a look at what I'm doing, I mean, it's kind of a miracle. Like if we were actually going to take a look at what I'm doing and you actually look at the numbers and you actually take a good hard look at the numbers, it's kind of a miracle that I managed to make about $2 million on a 10.5 acre field. Even that is kind of a miracle if you actually just take a look at it for what it is, right? And am I going to sit here with a $2 million net worth for the rest of my life and just scrape $7,000 a month off my business? No, I'm not. Why would I want to do that? Right? I mean, is that really what I want to do? No, that's not what I want to do. Right? I want to take my $7,000 and I want to leverage a portion of it. I want to leverage a good portion of it, maybe even all of it, and buy myself a new property. Because when I buy myself a new property, I can run more cattle. And if I run more cattle, I'll make more money. Right? I mean, let's just think about it. If you take a look at the results for what they are and just consider it for what I've always said, results are important, right? Like results are important. Are they as important as progressing? Progression is more important than results. All right. In terms of reality, like it's more important that you improve every single day. It's more important that you improve every single day than you just wake up one day and have the results. Or, the chances of anybody waking up and having these results is borderline 0%. I mean, we're talking about somewhere between 0.00001 and 0.00001% chance. Chances of anybody waking up and doing this practically 0%. It's even kind of a miracle that I made it. All right, I mean, I don't know anybody else with a $2 million net equity valuation on a 10.5 acre field making in excess of $5,000 to $7,000 a month. I don't know anybody else other than me. And if if you're out there, then I would love to meet you. All right, but the thing right now is that also that feed is free, right? I've been talking about one of the big things right now is that feed is free. With the commodity markets how they are right now, every time that I feed my animals, I actually make a net positive return. Are those conditions going to last forever? No, they're not. Right? One day sooner than later, we will get hit by the double whammy. Feed costs will go up and cattle prices will go down at the same time. It will happen. All right, one day it will happen, and when it happens, feed will no longer be free. Just to put things in perspective, about 2 years ago, there was a major drought. And during this drought, the price of corn doubled, and the feeder cattle market was sitting at like $125. So you had to pay $500 for a tonnage of corn, and the cattle were selling for a feeder animal. A feeder animal was selling for like $1,100-$1,200. All right, a calf was selling for like $500. A little 200-pound calf was selling for like $500. All right, and when that situation happens, you're not going to make money in the cattle business feeding animals. Right now, I make money feeding animals. Are these conditions going to last forever? No, they're not. Realistically, they're going to be about 33% of the time. In terms of actually making a drastic amount of money feeding animals, 33% of the time, I will actually be able to generate a massive amount of money feeding animals. Right now, feed is actually free. I actually make a positive return feeding animals. Every time that I give my animals food, I actually make a positive return. Are those conditions going to last forever? No, they're not. All right, and that's also why I'm looking into growing more grass, right? I want to grow more grass. I want to buy a large field, and I want to grow myself grass so that I'm not reliant on the commodity markets, right? And so, when you take a look at this and you just consider it for what it is, and you actually take a hard look at it, it's actually kind of a miracle that I legitimately managed to make myself $2 million on a 10.5 acre field running commercial cattle. It's kind of a miracle. All right, is it ever going to happen again? I don't know. If you're out there right now and you know how to run cattle like this, then I would love to meet you. All right, I mean, we could work together. From what I have seen, I'm the only person that's effectively, I'm not gonna say I'm the only person that's made it, but I mean, I don't know anybody else that is legitimately making money like me in the cattle business. I don't know anybody else. All right, this, when I just consider it for what it is, I probably have a net equity valuation of about $2 million. All right, on this 10.5 acre field, I make a net profit of about $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a month. That's how much money. That's how much money I have left over every single month after I've paid for everything. All right, and that itself is kind of a miracle. All right, I didn't, when I first started, I didn't even understand that, I wasn't a whatever, right? I thought that I had to do this to make my farm work, and then I went for it, and then it worked out, and then it's kind of like this oh my god situation, right? Like I legitimately did I did somewhere between 700 and 1,000% better than the bar. Right? It's like, imagine you show up, and I was talking about this, but imagine like you're gonna go into you're gonna go lifting weights. And you want to qualify for something that's like, the best in the world have showed up, and the best in the world are now here to compete for this thing. And everyone there is, the rule book says that you're supposed to do 1,000 pounds. And me, I read the, I legitimately read the rule book wrong, and I thought that it said that I had to lift 4,000 pounds to qualify. And I didn't just want to do the qualification. I wanted to do more than the qualification. So I was doing somewhere between 7,000 and 10,000 pounds. And then the people who are grading the thing are like, what the heck is this guy doing? He is legitimately doing like 700% better than everybody. They've never actually even seen it before. Right? That's more realistically my situation. Right, I didn't even know that I wasn't supposed to be, I didn't realize that doing this well was like a complete anomaly. Right, I didn't realize that doing this well was like something that was just, it probably hasn't been even considered by most people. I didn't even know that. But I just thought that that's what I had to do to keep my business alive, and that's what I thought I had to do. I thought that those were the rules. And so, I didn't really even do it on purpose, right? I didn't know that I wasn't supposed to be doing this good. It's not even like that, right? I mean, I didn't realize that doing this well is like it hasn't even been considered by most people. Like, even the people who are the best, and they're running legitimate farms, or running whatever. I mean, I got a legitimate farm too. I mean, I probably make more money than most people make on 500 acres. All right, the whole thing. I always say, the results are. I've even said this earlier in the video. Results are important, right? Like, and when I take a look at what I'm doing, and I take a look at my future, and I take a look at what exactly am I looking to do, and I take a look at what I got going on right now, I got probably about $2 million net equity position, right? I mean, I probably got $2 million in net equity. I'm net positive cash flow about $5,000 to $7,000 a month. I'm looking to take my cash flow and invest it so that I can expand my business. The amount of, I probably, in terms of a reality perspective, because I've been talking about this too, but all businesses are evaluated the same way, right? And I've talked about this in terms of investing in a business. It's very important to understand this concept. It's very important to understand this idea, because all businesses are evaluated the same way. All businesses, when you look at the price of the business, is a multiple of the amount of money that it makes. All businesses, they're all the exact same way. My business, corporations, whatever, all businesses are a multiple of the money that it makes, the multiple of the earnings. And if you take a look at a business and the earnings of the business are projected to grow in the future, and you take a look at the business and you say, this guy is probably going to grow the business, right? This is the whole Warren Buffett thing, right? I've been talking about how Warren Buffett invests into companies. He takes a look at the business is projected to grow. The person who's running the thing is a very solid, capable individual. Then the business will be worth more in the future, because all businesses are worth a multiple of the earnings. I mean, my business is probably, and here's another, and even if my business is worth $2 million right now, would I, honest to God, would I sell 10% of my business for 200 grand? No, I would not. Why would I sell 10% of my business for 200 grand? That's worthless, right? I mean, why would I do that? Right? I mean, that's ridiculous. No, I would not do that. Right? I mean, so even if my business is worth, and that's also a very realistic way to look at it. In the future, I am looking to grow my business. And when I grow my business, my business will be worth more money. So that's the growth multiple, right? That's the growth multiple. And if you apply a growth multiple to my business, I mean, and when you actually take a look at how much money I generate, and you actually take a look at it for what it is, I probably make more money than you and everybody you know combined. Legitimately, everybody you know, put them in a room, I probably make more money than all of you combined. And I do it by running commercial cattle. All right, it's a very real possibility. All right, and I do it by running commercial cattle. I mean, I don't have some, I'm not like selling some widget, right? I'm not selling courses on YouTube. All right, I legitimately make all of my money farming. A vast majority. I mean, if we're talking about like a, $9,960,000, $9,950,000 of my earnings comes from the cattle business. Like, if you actually take a look at my business and you consider it for what it is on the bigger scale, and you actually take a look at it, over 9,900,000 of it comes from the cattle business. All right, and so that's another realistic way to take a look at what I mean when I say a vast majority of my money comes from the cattle business. A vast majority. Like over $9,900,000 a year comes from the cattle business. All right, and maybe I'm net positive cash flow. Even right now, I'm net positive cash flow about 5, 6, 7 grand a month. Even after I pay for everything, I still bring home in excess of $5, $6, $7,000 a month, right? And so I'm not in any struggle for money. I don't have any money problems. I legitimately have zero money problems. I mean, I don't drink, I don't do drugs, right? I don't have massive gambling. I don't gamble, right? I just run cattle 7 days a week. I make a boatload of money, and it just is what it is. The results are what they are. All right, and results are not everything, but results are important. All right. And if you know somebody who makes more than $2 million on a 10.5 acre field running commercial cattle, then you should probably take a look at what they're doing too. All right, and so the whole thing about everything that I got going on right now, I'm looking to do $1 million deal. I'm looking to buy a piece of land for $1 million, and I'm looking for about a 100-acre piece of property. I'm ready to go as of right now. I'm gonna get everything squared away, and the real estate market kind of sucks right now. There's not really anything for sale that's like a real good property, and so I'm taking a look around. I'm keeping an eye on the markets. I'm keeping an eye on the markets. I'm ready to go. I really want to buy about 100 acres for about $1 million, and that's about the going market rate for a property that size. So I can buy good property for that size. So there's no I'm not going to take any bad deals. Why would I take a bad deal, right? I'm not going to take any bad deals. And as of right now, at least, I make enough money to do essentially anything. I mean, I'm telling you, even after I pay for everything, and I figure I'm gonna pay off my truck too. I'm gonna go ahead and pay off my truck within the next month or two. I'm gonna pay off my truck, and then that'll free up a few $100s a month. $400 or $500 a month, and I can, that would make my balance sheet look better. And then I got a few things that I'm gonna do. I'm gonna just hold on to the money. And also in terms of a business strategy, I was thinking about this yesterday, but in terms of a business strategy, I actually came to the realization that even if I don't invest 200% of my income, if I have equity stored in my animals, the equity that I have stored in my animals, I actually don't need to take a loan against my animals, right? Because, I was like, from my understanding, I can actually take a loan against my animals, but I actually don't need to take a loan against my animals. I can just sell the animals, hold on to the money, go to the bank and take a loan for that amount of money, and then invest the money and hold on to the cash. That's another way I can do it. And if I do that, then I don't pay any income tax, because cattle are a 1-for-1 deduction, right? I was talking about this. Cattle are actually a 1-for-1 deduction. If you buy an animal, then you also get a deduction for that animal. So if you buy an animal and it costs you $1,000, that animal costs you $1,000, and you get a $1,000 deduction. If you buy an animal and that animal costs you $2,000, then you get a $2,000 deduction. So taking a look at everything, I don't have to invest 200% of my income to access all of the money in my business. Long story short, I don't have to do that. I don't have to invest 200% of my income to access all the money in my business. I can, if I really want to just sit on a large amount of cash for whatever reason, which there is no reason to do, but let's just say I have a reason to do it, then I can actually pull all the money out of my business, take a loan for that amount, and then invest the loan money into purchasing more cattle. And if I do that, then I don't have to pay income tax anymore. Legally, I don't have to pay income tax. All right, I'm not talking about tax evasion. I'm not talking about not paying your taxes on, I'm talking about legally deducting taxes. All right, you're legally deducting income tax by purchasing tax deductible assets. All right, I'm not talking about tax evasion. All right, you can legally reduce your income tax burden. And if you want to go and you want to deduct $100 grand a year, and I've always said that in America, I'm not the only person with this opportunity. If you live in America, then you have the opportunity to do it too. I'm not the only person that gets this. It's not like a specialist. It's not like a special privilege for me. If you want to go and you want to purchase 100 cattle a year to deduct 100 grand, if you want to do that, then you can go and do it too. All right, nobody's stopping you. Have fun with your 100 cattle. I hope it works out for you. All right, and then you'll understand what I go through to get these deductions. All right, running 100 cattle a year is not some journey. It's not some fairy tale journey. All right, it's not some Disneyland adventure. It's probably going to be the hardest thing you have ever done in your entire life. You will legitimately, if you're not careful, you will legitimately bankrupt so badly that you will lose everything. All right, I'm not whatever, right? I'm not messing with you. But if you legitimately want to go and you want to purchase $100,000 worth of cattle, start yourself an LLC, and then deduct those 100 cattle off of your balance, or off of your, if you want to deduct those 100 animals off of your taxes, nobody's stopping you. It's a free country. You can do whatever the heck you want. You want to go and do it, then go and do it. All right. He makes millions of dollars a year and he pays no taxes. Whatever. All right. I've already, that's a very poor thing to say. Taxes don't exist. Taxes do not exist as a punishment. A lot of poor people think that taxes are a punishment, but taxes are not a punishment. Taxes are only a punishment if you do not reinvest your capital. And when you invest your capital, the way you reduce your income tax burdens is to purchase tax deductible assets. If you purchase tax deductible assets, you now reduce your income tax burdens. All right, and so it's like, you know, and it's not fair. He makes millions of dollars a year and he pays zero taxes. That's not fair. If you want to go do it, then have fun doing it. Nobody's stopping you. You want to go and you want to go and buy 160 cattle and deduct $160,000 a year off of your income tax. You go and do it. Have fun. See if it's some magical journey for you. If you want to do it, then go and do it. All right. Nobody's stopping you. All right. You know, keep your BS to yourself. All right. I mean, legitimately go and do it. All right. I don't have some special privilege. Everybody has the same exact opportunity as me. That's how it is. All right. If you want to go and you want to deduct, let's say you go into the cattle business and you actually do the cattle business and you end up in a situation like me, right? You net yourself a positive of about $100,000 a year, right? You got about another $50,000 worth of equity in the animals, and if you want to pull the equity out of your animals, and so you go and you liquidate your animals and you take a loan for 50 grand, and now you're sitting around with 110 grand, and you got a $50,000 loan. Right? If you want to do it, then you can do it too. Nobody's stopping you. All right. Nobody's stopping you. Or if you made all of that money in 1 year, then now you have to go and you have to invest 110,000. So you have to go and take a loan for 110 grand, and now you have to go and buy 110 cattle to reduce your income tax burdens to zero. But if you have 110 cattle and you have 110,000 cash, then you're at a net zero, right? I mean, you're at a net zero. You're not even in the negative. And granted that you don't lose like 75% of your animals, you will actually still end up at zero, right? I've already talked about the whole tax strategy. I've already talked about the whole strategy in terms of making money, right? But if you want to do it, you can do it too. Nobody's stopping you, all right? Nobody's stopping you. It's a free country. You know, have fun. But at the end of the day, if you're not going to do it, then at least keep your BS to yourself. All right, this is not some Disneyland adventure. Running cattle is probably going to be the hardest thing you have ever done in your entire life. When you take a look at what I'm doing, you're talking about a success rate of about 0.00001 to 0.00001%. But if you want to go and figure that out for yourself, have fun. Go and do it. Nobody's stopping you. And also, I sincerely hope that you succeed. All right, legitimately, from the bottom of my heart, and the utmost sincerity, I sincerely hope that you succeed. Because what would I benefit if you failed? Nothing. There would be nothing for me to benefit. There was legitimately zero benefit for me to see people fail. And I've already said, I was talking about this yesterday, but watching people fail is not funny. All right, if you legitimately sit there and you think that it's funny to watch people fail, you're a prick. It's not funny to see people fail, all right? I mean, it's like the most devastating thing that you can ever, not even, well, I mean, but, I'm not even going to say it like that because, don't sit there and throw yourself a pity party either, right? I mean, you really got to get yourself out of this situation. You got to think about things, consider things for what they are, take a hard look at your situation, and then figure it out. Or it's not going to get better, and then you're going to end up throwing yourself a pity party forever, and then nobody cares, and then boom, now you're just you're going to die, right? So now you're whatever, right? Now you're just but you got to take a hard look at your situation, and you got to figure it out, and you got to get yourself out of the situation, all right? Take a good look at it, figure something out, come up with a legitimate plan. These goals need to be reached, these objectives need to be reached. I need to do these targets need to be hit, and when I do this, as I go along, if I hit this goal, then I'll mark it down. If I get to 100 animals worth of equity, and I'm looking to turn those 100 animals worth of equity to 200 animals worth of equity, then I will have achieved that goal, right? And how am I going to do that? I'm going to put these animals on this feed. I'm going to put them on this medication. I'm going to pay this much for the land, etc., right? And when I get there, I'm going to mark it down, and then when I'm ready to go to the next step, then I'm going to go and I'm going to mark that down. And when I go to this step, if I can't find a new piece of land, and I'm sitting on a large amount of equity in my cattle, and I see an opportunity to take that money out of my business and not have to pay income tax on it by taking a loan for that amount, then I'm going to go ahead and do that. But if I do find a good piece of property, then I can push my business forward. Then I will go on to the next step. And then you just write down your goals, right? Write them down one after another. Write down your objectives. Make sure that they are very, very, very clear, right? You've really thought about them. Make sure that they're and then you move forward with your business plan. All right, and then you move forward with your plans. You reach your goals, you reach your objectives. When you reach your objectives, when you reach your goals, you mark it down. All right, come up with a very, don't go on a mystical, magical journey. All right, life is not Disneyland. All right, if you fail, you will legitimately probably fail. There was a very, you probably don't understand this, but I legitimately see people who are 70 and bankrupt. All right, it happens all the time. It's not some funny thing. I'm not saying that to be malicious. I'm saying that is legitimately something that happens. There are a lot of people who end up, no retirement. I mean, a horrible situation. And it's like, and if you don't want to end up like that, then you need to do something about it. All right, and you got to come up with a realistic investment strategy. When you invest into something, you're really looking for something that has a very large equity market. Because if it has a very large equity market, the reason it has that market is because the thing is valuable. It's not valuable to just you, it is valuable to everybody. And if you store your money in that asset, if you buy that asset, you are not actually spending any money. You are trading that money for something that is equally as valuable as the money. And in reality, you want an idea for how to appreciate that asset profitably over a long period of time. And if you develop an understanding of that, and you invest in that asset, then that's how you make large amounts of money, right? And then once you figure out something that you understand, and you have an equitable asset, and in the future, let's say that you want to access that money, but you don't want to liquidate your asset, you can hold that asset as collateral, and then you can take a loan against it. And so that's the situation. All right, watching people fail is not funny. I don't get a kick out of it. All right, but you got to understand that even when you're watching something like something like me, and I'm not saying this to like brag or boast. I'm not saying this to whatever. I'm not saying this to, what I call fiddling my own dilly, right? I'm not sitting here bragging and boasting. I'm just saying, if you actually take a look at what I do, I mean, we're talking about somewhere between a 0.00001 and 0.00001% chance. And I give you the best information that I can, all right? I'm not some malicious individual. I'm not like predating on poor people. You got to understand that a lot of people fail, all right? And it's not funny. And that's it for me today, YouTube. Y'all have a good one.